For many of us, gardening can feel like a constant battle, and the main enemy, it often seems, is the endless tide of weeds. We pull them, we dig them, we spray them, yet they always seem to return, sometimes stronger than before. This can be terribly disheartening. It makes you feel as though you are failing as a gardener. But what if I told you there is another way to look at this? The Amish have a simple, profound perspective. They believe that weeds are not a sign of your failure. Instead, they are messengers. They are nature's way of telling you that your soil is in trouble and needs a helping hand. This is a truly revolutionary idea. It shifts the focus from fighting a war against nature to listening to what it has to say. The Amish see their gardens not as a pristine plot to be kept sterile, but as a living, breathing part of the world. A weed is simply a plant growing where you may not want it, but it is also a plant that has chosen that exact spot for a reason. It is thriving because the conditions are just right for it, and those conditions are a clue. By understanding why a particular weed is growing, you can begin to understand what your soil is missing. This is the first step towards a truly sustainable, and dare I say, easier garden. Imagine a garden where you spend less time on your knees, yanking out stubborn roots, and more time enjoying the fruits of your labor. This is the promise of the Amish approach. They have been cultivating the land for centuries, often without modern chemicals or machinery. Their secret is not some magical trick. It is a deep respect for the soil, and a commitment to working in harmony with the natural world. They do not see weeds as an enemy to be vanquished. They see them as a symptom of an underlying problem. Fix the problem, the soil itself, and the symptom simply disappears. It is a gentle, patient, and incredibly effective way to garden. So, let us put down our hose and our spray bottles for a moment. Let us stop blaming ourselves for every dandelion and thistle that appears. Instead, let us learn to look at our gardens through a new lens. A lens of curiosity and partnership, not of conflict. We can learn to read the story that the weeds are writing in our soil. The Amish have shown that by healing the earth beneath our feet, we can create gardens that are not only productive and beautiful, but also largely free of weeds. It all begins with changing our minds and seeing weeds not as a problem, but as the beginning of a solution. It is a kinder way to garden, for the land, and for ourselves. To truly grasp the Amish secret to a weed-free garden, we must first change how we think about soil. For many, soil is just dirt. It is the stuff that holds our plants up. We might add some fertilizer from a bag now and then, but we do not give it much more thought than that. The Amish, however, see the soil in a completely different light. To them, the soil is not an inert substance. It is a living, breathing ecosystem, teeming with an incredible diversity of life. It is a community of billions of organisms, all working together in a complex and beautiful dance. This is the foundation of everything they do in the garden. Think of the soil as a bustling underground city. It is home to earthworms, beetles, fungi, and countless microbes too small for us to see. Each of these creatures has a vital role to play. The earthworms are the plows, tunneling through the earth, creating channels for air and water. The fungi form vast networks, like an underground internet, transporting nutrients between plants. And the bacteria work tirelessly to break down organic matter, turning dead leaves and old roots into the very food that our vegetables need to grow. This vibrant community is what makes soil healthy and fertile. It is life itself. When we treat the soil like dirt, we damage this delicate ecosystem. Digging too much, leaving the ground bare, or using harsh chemical fertilizers and pesticides can destroy this underground city. It is like setting off a bomb in the middle of a thriving community. The worms disappear, the fungi die back, and the helpful bacteria are killed off. The soil becomes compacted, lifeless, and poor. It loses its ability to hold water and nutrients, and this is precisely when the problems begin. An unhealthy, struggling soil is an open invitation for weeds to move in and take over. The Amish understand this deeply. Their entire gardening philosophy is built around one central principle: feed the soil, not the plants. They know that if they take care of the life within the soil will take care of their plants. A healthy, living soil is rich, dark, and crumbly. It smells sweet and earthy. It is full of worms and other creatures. This is the kind of soil that can support a thriving garden. It provides everything a plant needs to grow strong and healthy, leaving very little opportunity for weeds to get a foothold. It is a simple truth. Healthy soil grows healthy plants, and healthy plants outcompete weeds. Once you begin to see weeds as messengers, your entire garden becomes a story waiting to be read. Different weeds thrive in different conditions, they are specialists, and their presence tells you something very specific about the state of your soil. The Amish have been observing these signs for generations. They use this knowledge to diagnose and treat their soil, much like a doctor uses symptoms to diagnose an illness. Learning to read these signs is a powerful skill. It allows you to work with precision, giving your soil exactly what it needs to heal and become balanced once again. It is a fascinating and rewarding process. For instance, have you noticed a lot of dandelions in your lawn or garden beds? Their long, strong taproots are a classic sign of compacted, heavy soil. These roots are powerful. They can break up hard-pan soil that your garden fork can barely penetrate. In a way, the dandelion is doing you a favor. It is nature's aerator, trying to plow the soil and create channels for air and water. Dandelions also tend to thrive in soil that is low in calcium but high in potassium. Seeing them is not a sign of neglect. It is a clear message that your soil needs loosening, and perhaps a bit of calcium. Other weeds tell different stories. The appearance of clover, for example, often indicates that your soil is low in nitrogen. Clover is part of the legume family, and it has a remarkable ability. It can take nitrogen from the air and fix it in the soil, making it available for other plants. So, when you see clover, nature is trying to fertilize your garden for free. Similarly, plantain, with its flat, rosette shape, often grows in compacted, sour or acidic soil that is low in fertility. Purslane, a fleshy succulent, can indicate soil that is very dry on the surface, but also surprisingly rich in minerals. By paying attention to which weeds are dominant, you can create a targeted plan to improve your soil. If you have dandelions, the answer is not just to pull them. The answer is to aerate the soil and add compost to improve its structure. If you have clover, your soil is asking for more nitrogen-rich organic matter. Instead of fighting these plants, we can thank them for the information they provide. They are the pioneers, the first responders, trying to repair damaged land. By understanding their purpose, we can take over their job and help our soil heal much more quickly. The Amish response to a weedy garden is beautifully simple and logical. If weeds are a sign of poor, unbalanced soil, then the solution is not to attack the weeds. The solution is to heal the soil. They focus all their energy on creating soil that is so healthy, so fertile, and so full of life that weeds simply do not stand a chance. Strong, vigorous vegetable plants will quickly shade out and outcompete any weed seedlings that dare to sprout. The weeds do not need to be pulled because they are never given the opportunity to establish themselves in the first place. It is a proactive, not a reactive, approach. So, how do they do it? They feed the soil life. They provide a constant, varied diet of organic matter. This is the fuel that powers the entire underground ecosystem. Anything that was once alive can be returned to the soil to feed the worms, fungi, and microbes. The Amish are masters of composting. They create large, active compost piles, turning kitchen scraps, garden waste, and animal manure into what gardeners call black gold. This finished compost is not a chemical fertilizer. It is a complete soil conditioner, packed with stable nutrients and a huge diversity of beneficial microorganisms. Manure from their farm animals, cows, horses, chickens, is another cornerstone of their soil feeding strategy. They understand that fresh manure can be too strong for plants, so they let it age or rot down. This process mellows the manure, breaking it down into a rich, earthy material that is perfect for enriching garden beds. They also make use of everything the seasons provide. In autumn, they gather fallen leaves. In summer, they use grass clippings. Nothing is seen as waste. Every piece of organic material is a precious resource, a gift to be returned to the earth to build its fertility for the coming year. This continuous addition of organic matter does several wonderful things. It improves the soil's structure, making it light and airy instead of heavy and compacted. This solves the problem that dandelions were trying to fix. It dramatically increases the soil's ability to hold on to water, making the garden more resilient to drought. And most importantly, it provides a slow, steady release of all the nutrients your plants need to thrive. By focusing on building this foundation of rich, living soil, the Amish create a garden where the vegetables flourish and the weeds fade away, all on their own. Creating a new garden bed can seem like a daunting task, usually involving backbreaking work digging up tough turf. But the Amish often use a wonderfully simple and effective method that requires no digging at all. It is called sheet mulching, or sometimes lasagna gardening. This technique works with nature, not against it, to smother existing grass and weeds while building incredibly fertile soil at the same time. You are essentially creating a compost pile right where you want your garden to be. It is a brilliant way to start a new weed-free garden from scratch. The first step is to choose your spot. You can lay your new garden bed right on top of an existing lawn or a weedy patch. There is no need to remove the vegetation first. Simply mow or cut it down as low as you can. Then, lay down a layer of cardboard or several layers of newspaper right on top. This is your weed-blocking layer. It smothers the plants underneath by blocking out the light, so they cannot grow. Over time, the cardboard will decompose and be eaten by earthworms, adding carbon to your new soil. Just be sure to remove any plastic tape from the boxes. Next comes the fun part, building the layers. On top of the cardboard, you will add alternating layers of green and brown materials, just like in a compost pile. The green layers are rich in nitrogen and include things like kitchen scraps, grass clippings, and fresh manure. The brown layers are rich in carbon and include materials like shredded leaves, straw, wood chips, or shredded paper. You should aim for roughly 2 to 3 times as much brown material as green. This balance will help the layers decompose properly without getting smelly. Keep adding layers until your bed is at least a foot deep, or even deeper. The final layer on top should always be a thick layer of a finished material, like compost or good topsoil. This gives you a nice medium to plant into. You can plant larger seedlings directly into this top layer right away. For smaller seeds, it is best to let the bed settle and decompose for a few months. As the layers break down, they create a rich, dark, beautiful soil, full of life. You have built a weed-free, super fertile garden bed without ever lifting a spade. Creating healthy soil is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing relationship. The Amish know that to keep their gardens productive and weed-free year after year, they must continue to care for the soil. 2 of their most important practices for long-term soil health are crop rotation and the use of cover crops. These techniques ensure that the soil is never depleted of nutrients and is always protected from the elements. This continuous care is what maintains the balance where healthy plants thrive and weeds do not. It is the secret to sustainable, long-term success. Crop rotation is a simple yet brilliant idea. It means not planting the same type of vegetable in the same spot year after year. Different plant families have different needs. For example, heavy feeders like corn and tomatoes use up a lot of nitrogen from the soil. On the other hand, legumes like beans and peas actually add nitrogen to the soil. By rotating these crops, you prevent the soil from becoming exhausted of any one particular nutrient. It also helps to break the life cycles of pests and diseases that can build up in the soil if they have the same host plant to feed on every year. Even more important, perhaps, is the Amish principle of never leaving the soil bare. Bare soil is vulnerable. The sun bakes it, the wind blows it away, and rain can wash it away or compact it. A bare patch of soil is also a perfect nursery for weed seeds just waiting for their chance to sprout. To prevent this, the Amish always keep their soil covered. During the growing season, this cover is provided by their vegetable plants and a thick layer of mulch, like straw or shredded leaves. This mulch also helps to retain moisture and keep the soil cool. When a crop is harvested and a bed becomes empty, especially at the end of the season, they do not leave it bare over winter. Instead, they sow a cover crop, also known as green manure. These are plants like clover, winter rye, or vetch, which are grown specifically to protect and improve the soil. They hold the soil in place with their roots, preventing erosion. They suppress weeds by covering the ground, and when they are turned back into the soil in the spring, they add a huge boost of organic matter and nutrients, feeding the soil life and preparing the bed for the next season's vegetables. When you step back and look at the Amish way of gardening, you see a picture that is about so much more than just pulling weeds. It is a philosophy for living. It is about partnership, not domination. It is about understanding the rhythms of the natural world and working within them, rather than trying to impose our own will. This approach turns gardening from a chore into a joyful collaboration. You are no longer a soldier fighting a battle. You are a steward, a caretaker, nurturing a small piece of the earth and helping it to flourish. This shift in perspective changes everything. The deep lesson here is that nature is not our adversary. It is our greatest teacher and our most powerful ally. The weeds we dread are not trying to ruin our gardens, they are trying to heal the land. The insects we fear are part of a complex food web that, when in balance, largely takes care of itself. The Amish have shown that by focusing our efforts on creating health, on building a vibrant, living soil, we create a system that is resilient and self-sustaining. The garden almost begins to run itself. The weeds disappear because the conditions that invited them are gone. This way of gardening brings with it a profound sense of peace and connection. You become an observer, noticing the small changes in the soil, the types of weeds that appear, and the health of your plants. You learn to respond with care, adding compost here, a layer of mulch there. You are participating in a cycle of life, death, and renewal. You are giving back to the earth as much as you take from it. This is a deeply satisfying feeling. It is a connection that is often missing in our fast-paced modern lives. It grounds us and reminds us that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. So, the Amish secret to a weed-free garden is not really a secret at all. It is an open invitation to slow down, to observe, and to work with the powerful forces of nature. It is about feeding the soil, protecting it, and nurturing the life within it. When we do this, we create gardens that are not only abundant and beautiful but also a joy to be in. We create a space where we can grow healthy food, but more than that, we grow a deeper relationship with the land itself, and that is a harvest that will nourish us for a lifetime.